Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Gary from Become the Music. Before we get started tonight, I wanted to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, which is Gothic Jewelry. Gothic makes really high quality stainless steel jewelry as well as clothing and accessories for the rock and roll Gothic lifestyle. I'm sporting a couple of pieces tonight, a couple of really beautiful rings. And I love this bracelet, really good stuff. I'm gonna drop a code below for 22% off until January 31st of 2024 and a link to their website. So please check them out, really nice stuff. I think you really like what they have to offer. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Hope your day was as good as mine. My name is Gary, this has Become the Music. And tonight I'm very excited because today is the 53rd anniversary of one of the most important albums in the history of hard rock, heavy metal, and rock and roll in general. I'm speaking, of course, of Paranoid, the phenomenal, groundbreaking second album from Black Sabbath. And of course, you know, this is the Master of Reality album cover. I don't have a Paranoid album cover shirt, but it's close enough. So, interesting fact about this record, it was their breakout album. The first album did pretty well, but this had, of course, the big smash single Paranoid, and really catapulted them into, you know, massive fame, and they started doing huge tours and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, you know, the first album's incredible. This album really put them on the map and really opened the doors for this kind of dark, doomy, sludgy, heavy music. And brought them into commercial success, which of course made other bands follow that. And here we are today with the plethora of heavy music that we have out there. And many people count Black Sabbath as the progenitors of heavy metal, the grandfathers, if you will. And this album has been on my rotation. First time I heard it was 1980. I had already heard Black Sabbath. I was listening to Black Sabbath, but I remember being at a friend's house. We were having a party. Someone put on Paranoid, and those opening notes of War Pigs just... I was just blown back in my chair, and it was loud on a good stereo, right, in this big house. I'd never heard anything like that, and it was just... I was completely enraptured by what I was hearing. It was so phenomenal. So, another cool fact about this album, their debut album had come out in February of 1970. They entered the studio in June of 1970. 4 months later, they decided to record this album. So they wrote most of this while they were touring the first record. A lot of the stuff on this album came out of onstage jamming. So they would, you know, be playing one of their original songs from the first record on stage. They'd go into an extended musical jam, and they'd remember those ideas and develop them. Of course, lyrics written by Geezer Butler, you know, most of the music written by Tony Iommi, Ozzy with some melodies, Bill Ward bringing up the backbone with his phenomenal drumming. And man, this album, to this day, I maintain that the song War Pigs is the heaviest song ever been released. I really think that. I mean, define heavy. Is it aggression? Is it violence? Is it speed? Is it thrash? Is it, you know, death metal? Is it that? Sure, those are all heavy. They're wonderful. War Pigs, man. That opening, that just powerful, relentless crunch with that air raid siren, the nuclear war air raid siren. Man, that's something else. They initially wanted to call this album War Pigs, but because of the Vietnam War at the time, the record company nixed it, and they said, no, we don't want to offend people. So they changed the album to Paranoid, and the rest is history. So please join me. I'm going to be reacting to 3 songs tonight. My favorite 3 songs on the album. I'm leaving out the song Paranoid and the song Iron Man. They're not my favorite songs on the album. I love them, but I'm doing War Pigs, Fairies Wear Boots, and Hand of Doom. Those are my 3 picks for the best songs on the record. Little trivia about Iron Man, in case you don't know how the opening line was when Ozzy says, "I am Iron Man," right? That's him saying that into a fan, like a house fan. That's why his voice sounds choppy. I am Iron Man, whatever, like that, right? Sorry, that was really silly what I just did, but that's how it was done. So Incredible album. I love the ballad. Excuse me. I love the ballad "Planet Caravan." Trippy, really, really cool. Again, a lot of effects on his voice, an oscillator, and he was singing through a Leslie cabinet, which is a speaker cabinet with a rotating speaker in it. And the production on this record, for a young band, 1970, it sounds beautiful. The recording on this album, actually, all the early Sabbath albums sound really good. But this album sounds phenomenal, and Ozzy's vocal chops, he's singing so well on the album. The first album, he was fine. He's a little bit flat sometimes. He doesn't have his power yet. He doesn't have a lot of that, be able to belt and stuff like that like he could later. But yeah, Paranoid, he'd really, constant touring really brought his vocal abilities up, and the band was super tight, and they were just on the verge of massive success, and they were young and hungry and just going for it, man. And Paranoid, that album is just so killer. So you can tell I'm stoked, because every time I hear the music from this album, it's just like, it meant so much to me for, most of my life. I'm actually going to be doing live versions of these because it's more interesting to me to watch the band play. So we're not going to hear exactly what's on the studio record, but most of you have probably heard it. So I want to watch the live stuff. So this is going to dive into some 1970 performances, the year that this album came out. And the first song we're going to do is War Pigs. So please join me for that. There's going to be 4 videos in this series celebrating September 18th, 1970. Black Sabbath, War Pigs, unleashed on the world. See you in a minute.